The third place match, we are going into the game right now. There was a bit of a miscommunication. We've also got Rockmar here. I am Snowy Padre. We're casting from ESL Australia, and welcome onto the stream. Again, there's been a couple of issues with communication as we set up the game with the Chinese admins, but we are sorting it. What are you thinking about expectations for this game, Rockmar?
Very excited. Obviously, we've got RYL Club, very well known from their performance at the World Championships. Very interesting couple of games. Did have a problem with Jax, and you will have to see. They've had a couple of roster changes, same as LiveMore. A couple of roster changes on their side, and they are very unknown teams. So it'd be very interesting to see how these teams match up.
Yeah, with RYL again, they've had that change with Uzi going from AD to jungle. They've got Quiet on the AD now. LM have had almost an entirely new roster change as they've got members going into other big teams, like they've been known for doing. They take on a lot of the pro players and they move on to higher teams, and then they do the exact same thing all over again. We do actually have right now, I believe it is RYL, there it is, grouping up at their blue. A lot of sight coming out for LiveMore at the blue buff, as they're trying to side it out. Actually, a vision ward going down as RYL does deny the site, so perfect little play there. Let's have a look. Are you in the game and everything working fine?
Yeah, I'm in here. I'm looking at the comp that we've got at the moment. Godlike on his Shen, which is very much a champion he's been happy to play in the past. And looking down the line, we've got Corki, Zyra, very common lane recently since the Triforce changes. White's on Fizz. He showed at World Championships. Obviously, he's very adept at Fizz and able to do that very well. And Uzi is going to be playing that Elise, which is a very strong, safe champion in the jungle. As we look over at LiveMore, Caitlyn Fiddlesticks, very good push lane, very safe lane as well. Looking into Orianna in the mid lane against the Fizz. Also a good matchup on the side there of LiveMore. And in the top lane, we've got Jarvan versus that Shen. So won't be too much happening up there, I wouldn't think. They'll just be sort of wet tea towel hitting each other for a little while. And in the jungle, we've got the Aatrox versus Uzi moving into the jungle on that Elise.
So this is a best of 3. This is the third place match, and it is game number 1 coming in here. So it's no games taken by either of these teams just yet. There's no strange little invades going down just yet. There's no lane swaps going down either. And just looking at some of the picks that were taken out, of course there was no Corki ban, there was no Fizz ban again for Whites there, and they didn't take out the Aatrox either, who we saw a lot of yesterday. I think in almost every single game, using that blood well to bait out a lot of team fights and be incredibly useful for his team.
Absolutely, and something we're going to see a lot of is that Caitlyn, as we see Elise in the top lane, and a little bit of aggression there onto Leah, but not too much going on. Uzi just trying to make his presence felt, and junglers matching each other very evenly as Whites gets jumped on in the mid lane.
Whoa! Yep, he is certainly going to get taken out by that last auto, but not before Orianna picks one up as well. G just going in straight for it, letting that 1-for-1 go down. It was the first blood going to G though, going to Orianna as Whites goes down a bit quicker throughout the ignite, just to confirm the kill. A little bit of pressure going on at the top lane. We see this a lot from Chinese teams as well. They love to jump on those top lanes, duo lanes, rather than sticking in the jungle or helping out other lanes, because there's always so much pressure on there. We see them ban out a lot of the top lanes. I would have expected to see probably a Renekton ban going down in this game. I bet you that was one of them.
Yeah, would have also expected to see RYL ban out the Jax. They had a lot of problems with that against SK Telecom T1 at World Finals, and they had a lot of problems with it yesterday in the WCG pool games as well. So wouldn't be surprised at all to have seen that banned out. Now, something to note about that little altercation we had in the middle there between Whites and Jai. Whites went back in there, did give up the first blood, but managed to actually have Jai hang around just long enough to try and get the last auto attack in, which is what netted him that 1-for-1 trade. So really well done there by Whites, just to know the range on that tower and get his make sure his opponent was in it just long enough to pick up that kill.
Now, Whites did focus on that early sustain, picking up the flask. He has gone back and grabbed a Doran's, but it's double Doran's already on G, as opposed to trying to go straight for a Chalice, putting a lot of damage into that mid lane, hopefully looking for a gank. And Cedar's actually sitting up at top, waiting for Godlike to get in a difficult position, as we do get a bit of lag from that client. Here we go. There's the taunt going off from Godlike. A bit misplaced there, as we do see jump on him as well. Let's see if the mouse bug is happening today. No, Seed's just going to sit in that lane, take a bit of farm to deliver that. He's going to go back and not aggress Godlike anymore.
And very successful gank there by Seed as well to get that flash out of Godlike. Flash taunt on Shen being one of the scariest things that you can probably experience, and RYL also going very, very strong in this bottom lane as well. Both Tabe and Quiet are very, very low and have managed to force out that Caitlyn, but will have to leave the lane on that health.
Interesting to see that Tabe isn't playing on that trademark Annie this time. He is going back onto the Zyra. I believe we saw him a couple of times use that yesterday in the semis. Oh, as actually G gets a good jump on in the mid. Uzi did not get the repel off soon enough. He's still going to put a little bit of aggression into that lane and push G out. Push that Orianna away from the mid lane. Aatrox coming in to see if he can help out as well. They're trying to siege this turret as much as they can. There's so much more jungle presences in this game than we see a lot more from the eastern sides. It's almost as if jungles just love putting their aggression into the lane, staying there for far longer to deal a lot more damage, to push out lanes rather than just provide presence and scare lanes.
Yeah, absolutely, and I just want to take a quick a moment to look at this CS lead that's already building in the bottom lane. In a Caitlyn Corki lane, you would not expect to see Corki up by 10 CS this early into the game, and he has a huge wave here on his turret, so he's going to pick up a few more. And in the top lane as well, Shen already out to a 15 CS lead, so very interesting to see. That's something you don't often see in a Jarvan Shen or in a Caitlyn Corki matchup.
I think a lot of that was due to a couple of early harassing ganks from Uzi in the top lane. Again, they put a lot of pressure by dueling those lanes. We actually see Tabe taking a little bit of damage from Magic, getting off a Dark Wind and pulling off a bit of a drain as well. Now backing off, they are taking a lot of damage. Of course, you do have the pushing presence on Caitlyn, but Corki has just been shredding these minions apart with his Gatling cannon.
Yeah, great wave clear from Corki, and he's been able to keep it shoved most of the game as we see Whites go ham.
Oh, and sorry, there was just a little bit of a delay there on the client as we do see two dropping down, and actually in the bot lane, Quiet finally diving that turret against the Caitlyn, noting they can use that Valkyrie to get such a good range in on her. Got a couple of autos, finished her off with the Ignite as well, but in the mid lane it was G going down, but taking Whites with him.
Yeah, absolutely, and all things said and done, probably a better trade there in the mid lane for the side of LiveMore, but Quiet in the bottom lane, able to sort of bring that advantage back to the side of RYL. Obviously, White's giving away a fair bit of assist gold there. Not ideal, but you know, he's doing what he can, and obviously with White's, as we said, against the Orianna does outscale Fizz very well into the late game. Those shields, the displacement that she offers, makes it really hard for Fizz to get in there and do what he needs to do. So Whites does need to start getting his advantage now, and even if he goes 1-for-1 every time, that's allowing him to get the build that he needs and get it started a little bit earlier. You'll see both the Sheen picked up for Corki and Whites already.
No, it's a lot of overall burst coming out from RYL. I believe they're focusing on getting a good dash from Shen, I think. And then probably, oh no, just a good dash from Shen. We usually see a gank coming in the mid as we may see a shockwave go down to G. Not going to throw it out just yet. Seed Bloodwell getting popped there, looking for soaking up all the damage for his team. It certainly worked out. There's a catch from Uzi on a G as we do go into a little bit of a spike there. White's getting away with a flash and Urchin strike on a Magic. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to get away from this one though, as XQ picks up the kill. Orianna, well, sorry, Caitlyn rather, walking away with that.
Yeah, and a great work there from LiveMore to basically force that the Corki and Zyra lane back and able to get themselves up the river without being followed by Quiet and Tabe. So really well done there to actually get the aggression in and actually be able to move up lane and, you know, help the team fight out and pick up that kill.
Yeah, just so many well-placed grabs, so many well-placed CCs from Godlike coming in here, managing to use the Stand United to come in. Oh, sorry, the Stand United wasn't actually proc, he was already in that mid lane. Everything's just going a bit haywire at the moment.
1-for-1 in the mid lane there, and we did see Godlike get in there and manage to pick himself up a kill, but at the same time we see a whole lot of aggression from Leah on that top lane, down to about half, and he will draw back, but that's that's a big advantage there for Leah. Shen, he wants to start that split push quite early. You can see he's already gone in for the Giant's Belt. He's going to be going for that Sunfire Cape, so I would expect to see that Sunfire Cape and the split push strategy coming out of Godlike as he just goes a little bit of
Crystal coming in from Magic there as they try to jump on Tabe. Certainly going to find it as Quiet's putting a little bit of damage out on XQ, but they do miss the passive from Zyra, and no kill is picked up in exchange from the Caitlyn. They're actually trying to still descend on Quiet as Seed moves in as Aatrox. He actually manages to outplay them, throwing out a missile barrage and picking up a double kill, taking down Magic and XQ, but Seed manages to subdue him in the end.
Fantastic work there. In the top lane, Seed was actually picked up by Godlike and White. So really good roam there from White, and a little bit of Chum the Waters jumping in on top and managing to pick up that kill onto Aatrox as they did pop his blood well before. So taking good advantage of making sure you can get those revive passives down.
He's not going to push the lane, he's going to keep it as it stands so they can survive a little bit longer in there. Of course, the bot lane turret is already down because of that heavy pushing from Corki. We usually see it again from Caitlyn and Fiddles, but usually they do that with a lane swap, and they didn't choose to go out for that this time. They didn't want Jarvan to be alone in the bot lane taking all of that poke.
Yeah, and very interesting to see the way that this game's working. We see Godlike going in again, and Leah really getting a lot of aggression from Godlike. He's had a fair few roams up this way, both from White and Uzi in the jungle now, and doing a really good job of making sure that pressure in the top lane is Leah's fairly scared there. He is down about 13 CS, 14 CS at the moment, and has been scared to sort of push past that river. You can see him in the top lane now, sort of just standing around, not wanting to go to the creep wave because he knows so much aggression has been focused on him in that top lane.
Now Corki's sitting 1k gold up, and he's very far on his way to getting that Trinity Force. Caitlyn, on the other hand, is having a bit of a tough time, sitting nearly 40 CS down in that lane. There's just been so much aggression from Corki and Zyra. Tabe's known for his aggression on the supports. The unconventional supports, the Zyra and the Annie being his two big picks, are certainly working out in that bot lane. He's getting a lot of grabs off, and he's really isolated it. And of course, they did that pushing, getting that turret down. They've got a lot more dragon control now.
Yeah, absolutely, and not only do they get great dragon control with that Zyra pickup, but something to look at and something to focus on is, I want to, while we're in this pause, just want to go down the lines. We've got the Jarvan versus the Shen, that CS lead in favour of RYL. In the jungle, we've got the CS lead in favour of RYL. Now, Seed has picked up a couple of kills, but still looking in favour of RYL on that side. He is about 300 gold ahead for Seed, but genuinely not really where you want that gold to go. He has gone and picked up a Negatron cloak with that extra gold, but as we keep looking down the list, you know, we're looking at the gold deficit at the moment starting to go in the way of RYL, and most of that gold is actually onto the Corki. So as we get into late game, I can imagine Uzi, Godlike and Tabe are going to be playing the protect the Corki game in a big way. So if they're able to pull that off, it'll be very interesting to see how LiveMore are able to come back.
And there's that lane control from RYL, getting that bot turret, pushing out the bot lane. They've now got Dragon under their belt, but Leah and Seed are looking to take this top turret, and maybe Godlike at the exact same time. They're really got to focus it down. He got the taunt off and forced a bit of damage onto Leah, who has to back off. Seed's got to do the exact same thing as the turret does. Switch to him as Bloodwell is popped, but is Godlike going to be able to get a taunt off on him and a bit more damage? He certainly does find it. He's looking to take out Leah as well, and Cataclysm's not going to save him. A double kill to Godlike.
Oh mate, double kill under the turret. That's why you don't dive a Shen. Able to get so much damage out there on Seed and Leah, both taking a huge amount of damage. Seed thought, you know, I've got my passive up, no worries. Wasn't able to get out fast enough, and that taunt made it all work for them as we see White and Uzi go in onto Jai.
Oh, just that little bit of a miss onto the cocoon coming out from Uzi there, but Fizz able to follow it up just quick enough as that shockwave nearly locked him down underneath the turret long enough, and there's the Shen ult right onto Quiet to make sure that that tick off from the Ignite didn't bring him down.
And that tick of the last tick of Ignite would have got the kill there onto Quiet. So amazing work there. Great team communication for Godlike to know exactly how long he had to wait, not wasting that stand united, making sure it was used, and they did get the result they wanted out of that. The rampage there onto Godlike, the 4-0-2 Shen, absolutely beastly at the moment. This split push is going to be very, very interesting. I don't know if LiveMore is going to be able to sort of has anyone on their team at this stage that's going to be able to handle the split push. Looking down the line, you see Jarvan not really ideal for handling a split push, more of an engaged tank. You've got Aatrox at the moment. He's basically spent the bulk of his money on that movement speed boots and the Negatron cloak. So he's, again, not really what you want to handle that split push. Orianna, again, not really the one. So it'll be interesting to see how LiveMore is able to handle that Shen as we move into the mid game here.
I think we are seeing a bit of a freight train coming out from LiveMore. They're actually focusing on getting an IE out for their Caitlyn. As we do see another little engage going and a little bit of lag. Little AXQ just getting out of there by the skin of his teeth as G throws out the command to fend onto her ADC. Quiet is in for the chase though, and he's brilliant at chasing the shockwave, locking down Uzi and Whites as Quiet is left to try and battle with minions. Can't get out any more of those pot shots with his ulti.
And something to note there, the sheer damage in AoE that can be put out by RYL. You saw coming out the Fizz, the Corki, and I'm having a brain fart here, and the Elise all at once put out that damage and nearly drop XQ right off on that Caitlyn, and with the flash and the 90 caliber net, able to get himself out of that fight. Great disengage there from Team LiveMore. Were able to get out without losing anyone, but at the same time, great engagement there by RYL. Very evenly matched, these teams.
Been very quick damage scaling coming out from RYL, and again they're focused on burst, chase, and consistent damage past that. There's a bit of consistent damage from Corki, but a lot of it is burst, especially when you put Fizz right in the middle of it all, and then you've got Elise trying to backdoor a lot of LiveMore. He hasn't quite worked out in that way. They're focusing on locking people down with the Cocoon coming out from Uzi rather, as we may actually see another fight go down. Shen jumps in there. I don't think he got the turn up on anyone. As Tabe goes down, so does Fizz actually pick up a kill against Magic. Whoa, as we do actually lose control of the camera. Seed going to be focused down by Uzi. Now he is trying to get the command defend though. The shockwave is down. There's a taunt coming out from Godlike, jumping onto Aatrox, whose Bloodwell is down as well. You see XQ getting very close up and personal against Uzi. The Ignite is down. It's a kill for kill. ADC the shockwave back and focusing down on Godlike. He's going to see if he can get that one last hit off onto G. That doesn't work out. They go for the 5-for-3 exchange.
And amazing engage there on the side of LiveMore. They waited for the Crow Storm from the bushes. They knew there was no vision there. Fiddlesticks, having picked up that Oracles a little bit earlier, knew there was no vision there, and it basically baited that Corki and the Zyra and the Fizz to walk up around the ridge in River, and then straight away Cataclysm on top of the Crow Storm, dealing a huge amount of damage as we see Whites go ham onto LiveMore.
Whites can certainly put out a lot of very high burst,
Does get a little bit of damage there. Great fear there on the side of LiveMore coming out from Magic, managing to save both his and Jai's life. So well done there. Great mechanics from Whites shown so far. He is still 4-for-4, so that's what you want to see coming out for the Fizz. He needs to, even if he dies often, as long as he goes even, it's all about getting that gold and that experience. It doesn't really matter how much you give up to get that into the mid game. As we look down the list, we do already see the Triforce finished for Corki, and we've also seen Fizz Lichbane there as well. So two really core items finished. When you look over against the Bloodthirster Athenes, the power spike is definitely now for RYL. So the fact that they just went back and picked those up after the team fight, very big. We see Leah getting jumped on by Whites,
making the flash over the wall, just barely escaping by the skin of his teeth. Now I'm wondering if RYL's success will continue. We did see them go down pretty heavily in that last fight, and LiveMore, they have the lockdown, and as you said, they did get the Jarvan, and they did get the Crowstorm in the middle of that Cataclysm as well, and that helped them out a lot in that fight, putting the rest of RYL incredibly low and allowing them to follow up on all of the damage they're putting out. But will that really continue for the late game? I mean, you've got the Playful Trickster on Fizz, you've got the Repel for Elise, and in goes another Crowstorm as Leah's looking to lock them down underneath the tide. They do find it though. It's a 1-for-1 already as we do see Uzi taking out the support and a little lag. There's down for the turret as well. Godlike is running way out of there. The Shockwave's got to catch him though as the Dragon Strike Demacia standard almost picks him up. There's the headshot coming out from Caitlyn on LiveMore, managing to take him down. That was a 3-for-1 exchange.
Yeah, and the real mistake there was taking 2 other players to the top lane with Shen. Shen needs to be able to do his own thing. He had Stand United up. He's started to build his Triforce, so he's obviously feeling very comfortable about his play so far. And the only 2 times he's died is when he's tried to engage in those 3v3s or the 4v4s or in the team fights. What he needs to do is have his team stay in another lane and let him split push. There's no one on the side of LiveMore that can handle his split push at the moment, and they need to take advantage of that. So far they haven't, so we'll have to see how they adapt into this late game.
Here's Dragon going down to LiveMore. We did see it first taken out by RYL because of their early aggression in the bot lane. Certainly helped them out a lot, but now their gold lead is slimming down from RYL. It's getting quite a lot more up there from LiveMore because they have caught a whole bunch of team fights, those last 2, so successfully in the mid and the top lane. And again, we're seeing that freight train coming out from LiveMore's ADC. We're not seeing any of the Blade of the Ruined King coming out for that. Caitlyn, it's all to do with the Bloodthirster, possibly getting out an IE, focusing on getting a bit more crit now, I believe coming out soon with the Phantom Dancer.
Yeah, and something to notice as well is Caitlyn going obviously for that Bloodthirster into the Phantom Dancer at the moment, and she'll go straight from there, I would imagine, into the Last Whisper. At the moment, Shen, like we said, is a problem. The only time he's died is when it's 3v1 or 4v1, or he goes into a team fight and he's the last person left. So Caitlyn does need to be the person, basically put her hand up, and XQ needs to put his hand up and make himself the person that can deal with that split push. Looking down the lines, we're seeing the CS and the gold lead, as we said, very, very close. The big disparity still in terms of gold is in the AD carry and mid lane. Fizz at about 7,200 gold to 84.
Oh, Magic just going to get completely destroyed. A good catch out for Uzi, throwing out that cocoon and obliterating Magic. That crystal will not be available for the next fight. They are pinging out the Baron.
Absolutely fantastic catch there, and this is what they need to do. 3 men, sorry, only at Baron at the moment. I would have thought Whites will go down there. He is trying to hold XQ here in the top lane, and they're not really expecting this Baron. It's very early, 21 minutes, and Godlike has done a great job, but he has piqued the interest of Seed. Seed's going to come and check this out, and I don't know if they can finish it before he gets here.
Now, Seeds is quite tricky. Of course, he can bat out with that Bloodwell. The Baron isn't going down yet, but Seeds' Bloodwell is popped. In goes Leah. We'll see it. The rest of LiveMore can come and follow up. It doesn't look like it. Out goes the ulti from Zyra as well. So we get a little bit of lag going down. Leah and Seed managed to make it out of that engage alive. We do actually see Fizz take down XQ. In the meantime, as Chi gets jumped on, and Whites is throwing out his ulti as well. It's a cleanup from RYL, getting a 3-for-2, and they're following Seed as well. 4-for-2 exchange. Uzi getting away by the skin of his teeth as well.
Absolutely fantastic engage there from RYL. They knew exactly what they needed to do to get enough engage. They didn't take too much from damage from Baron, and they were able to bait in LiveMore there. A 4-for-2 trade, very, very advantageous. The gold lead was starting to slide in terms of LiveMore being able to pick up quite a few advantages through the last team fights, but being able to get those couple of picks at a time and never really having to fight 4-on-4 or 5-on-5. In fact, they were 4v2 and then 4v1, and then, you know, able to sort of get those picks throughout the stage of this team fight was exactly what they need to do. I would not be surprised to see a fair bit of aggression onto that Baron. Magic does have his oracles, and there's the oracles on the side of the Tabe there, so I can definitely see a pink ward battle happening in the next couple of minutes.
Oh yeah, and both teams are building into this. They're building into the fact that they have got changed up rosters. They're building into the fact that they are doing a little bit more solo play and sometimes getting a lot of that team play in, especially with Leah, especially with Magic. But they're building in those Guardian Angels. They're building in those Sonya's Hourglasses. Quiet, getting a few pot shots off on Aatrox, and of course his Bloodwell is down. No, they're not going to be able to get him without baiting out that Magic ulti as well. The Crow Storm going down. The Flash actually helping them pick off the Zyra. Tabe has gone down now, and his passive going to be used in vain.
Yeah, but great work here, because at the moment RYL's keeping a very interested team in the mid lane, and Godlike basically doing what I've said he's needed to do this entire time. He's got quite a large wave moving up in that top lane, and he's going to be able to start getting advantages in that top lane. The only person who's come back for him is at the moment Magic. They are all starting to move now. They sort of sense the blue buff may be in danger, but Godlike, I can't see him having any troubles picking up this blue buff and contesting this.
Oh, they're both going to move in for it, though it does look like it's going to go to RYL at this stage. They've got a lot of potion. No, it does actually fall down. Couldn't quite follow it. I do believe it did go to G there. And, yeah, Orianna actually picking up that blue, confirmed, definitely.
Yeah, and I just think interesting to see Godlike definitely had the advantage in that top lane. They had vision on 4 members in the mid, so it was very interesting to me that he didn't keep split pushing there. That's honestly what he needs to do. They don't have the team fight capabilities to basically overtake what LiveMore can do in a 5v5. With the Crowstorm has the highest base AP damage, the highest base damage of any spell in the game. So support Fiddlesticks or not, whether he's got a Sightstone and Moby Boots, that hurts. So they really need to make sure that whatever they're doing, they're not going to let themselves get get the Shockwave into the Cataclysm, into the Crowstorm. It's something that they really need to focus on, getting these picks and making sure that they can get that split push happening on the side of Godlike.
Yeah, and that's what actually we've been seeing less of coming into the late game, but we're going to see LiveMore will need to start using those ultis on a lot more targets from RYL. They threw out Magic's Crowstorm and a Flash on just getting Tabe, so that was down for that fight, and I think Leah was interested in throwing out the Cataclysm. He did save it out though, but the Crowstorm is coming back up, but if they constantly use those ultis to try and get single targets, they will get dived on very, very quickly, and you know, if we see Whites get off a really, really good Chum the Waters, then that could very, very well be the end for LiveMore, and they do tend to bunch up, especially with that Crowstorm, especially with the Cataclysm.
Yeah, and something that that I said a little bit earlier, XQ gonna have to be the person to handle that split push from Godlike, and at the moment he's not able to do that. He's only got his Bloodthirster and his Phantom Dancer, and without that Armor Shred against the we're looking at a Phage, a Sunfire Cape, and also that Spirit Visage, the amount of armor and regen that's coming out from Godlike, no one on the team can deal with that. So Godlike doing a very good job there, and we're going to see the Baron possibly taken again here by the side of RYL, and going to force LiveMore to come check it out.
And it is a bit of a back and forth from both teams. Again, the poke from RYL is impressive. Then we do see a Crowstorm and a Cataclysm going and taking out Whites there. Again, it's that single target use, but they're still following up incredibly well as RYL are split up. There is a good amount of shred coming out from that Ori with the command attack and dissonance taking out Tabe as well. So it's a 2-for-0 exchange, and it looks like LiveMore's gaining some more ground here while RYL was trying to isolate them.
Yeah, and that really needed to be a 4v4 in that dragon, in that Baron or in that red side jungle, and RYL just not executing very well at the moment. Play calling so far this game has seemed to be a little bit off, and we're going to see Godlike go on to Seed here. I can't see Seed being able to hold out, just the double Dorans and the Angels there, Archangels, Guardian Angels rather, and we're going to see both his Guardian Angel and then his passive. So 3 live Aatrox. The whole team now on the side of LiveMore gonna go for that dragon, and Godlike not feeling in a very good position at the moment. He knows they're all below him, and is probably gonna find himself in another 4v1 situation here.
Yeah, they're mitigating that gold gap once again by taking that dragon, focusing down on Godlike. The rest of the team has backed off. LiveMore will have to do the exact same. I've got to say, Godlike is incredibly tanky, and he can start split pushing a bit more effectively. The strength of LiveMore is in their team fights, is in their ultimates, and once we see RYL pick up on that a bit more, they can start 4v5ing and having Godlike do a little bit more backdooring and try and displace LiveMore just that little bit. I mean, if LiveMore aren't teamed up together, I don't believe they can take a team fight as effectively.
Yeah, and something to notice, we've had Fizz, he's already got his Zhonya's, he's got his Lichbane, now he's got another Death Cap. He is so huge, another Death Cap, another NLR at the moment. He's got about 350 AP, and with Fizz's ratios, doing so much damage. So if he's not sort of feared by Magic. That's basically been the downfall of Fizz so far. Magic instantly fearing him every time they get into a fight, and that's basically negating all that damage from Whites. So if they're able to either burst out Magic beforehand or able to, you know, fight a fight where Magic is not there, they're definitely going to get a better outcome on the side of RYL. But at this stage, LiveMore playing very, very smart and basically only taking the fights they want, the fights they know they can win. They're keeping themselves in this with only a 3 and a bit K gold lead at this stage on the side of RYL.
Yeah, I think LiveMore are gonna want to wait till RYL make a Baron attempt, but RYL has that ability to, they can sit there and try and siege the Baron, or they can sit there and try and bait the Baron as well. But there's that split pushing going on from Shen. LiveMore think they can take down this mid turret by ignoring Shen at this point, as Magic does catch off Tabe in the jungle. Is he going to be able to flash himself to safety? Not quite in time. Is he getting the slow off as well? They do manage to take down one target, but there's still that split push Shen going on at the top lane.
And what they're doing at the moment, RYL actually playing very, very cleverly. Uzi basically backwards and forwards. White's jumping in now as we see the Shen United come in. Seed going very, very low.
Oh, and goes that Cataclysm from Leah, and just targets falling off left and right. It does look like LiveMore's in a bit of a situation, a 2 for 2, but Leah's now getting taken down by Whites, and Uzi following it up very quickly. There was that Stand United coming in from RYL that really helped them turn around that fight, and again, that split push has left that top turret on almost no health at all. A couple of hits, and that thing's down.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was a 4v5, and they went 3 for 1. So great fight there from RYL. They had already lost Tabe in the jungle, but great job there in the 4v5, going 3 for 1. Not something you see a whole lot, but great job there from Godlike as well. He soaked about 3 ultimates there, so really great job from him to actually eat all those ultimates and make sure that the damage dealers on his team were able to stay alive.
Yeah, I mean, we did see that initiate from Whites, and that's what really made that fight. That's why it was so beautiful, is the rest that LiveMore had bunched up to the point where Whites jumped the waters was just so effective. And we didn't actually see any Zhonya's come out from either side either. They were just, the focus was all on Godlike once he'd come in with the Stand United. Of course, that protection on that single teammate does bait out a little bit of extra damage as they try to burst him down. And there's a bit more consistent damage, I feel, coming out from LiveMore. Of course, Magic didn't manage to get the Crow Storm either, so it wasn't their little wombo combo that gives them team fights, and yeah, it was just a bit delayed. They couldn't respond quick enough.
Yeah, and as we said, the thing to watch was whether Magic could stop Whites actually in those team fights, get the fear onto him and get him either shut down or out of the fight before the fight started. And White's able to go in there and pick up 3 kills, giving him a DFG, so he's a whole lot more scarier now. Has got his DFG, got his Zhonya's, got his Lichbane, doing a huge amount of damage, sitting on about 440 AP at the moment, and with his ratios going to absolutely crush. But we do see a bit of a freight train up the middle here.
Just hitting 10 to 12k on the ADCs in the 249 and 197 farm. It's just insane. But yes, it is looking to be a 4v5 coming out from RYL. Well, they are going for the initiate. Tabe's getting taken down and right away. Seed actually getting focused by the ulti from Fizz. And there's just not as much focus. Shen is holding out. He doesn't actually have Stand United available. He did stop it for a second there. It does look like Leah has to try and run away. And oh, there's going to be that burst coming out from the Corki. This is what RYL needs to make a push and potentially make the win. They are pinging out the Baron.
Yeah, that's a 4v5 and got the ace, which is absolutely unreal. And something to note, White's basically Uzi got the shield there in that fight from Godlike, and fantastic knowledge there from Godlike to see that the fight was already turning in their favour. And after he threw the shield down, realising that he didn't need to go into that fight and he would get a better advantage from staying in the lane. So threw his shield onto Uzi, letting Uzi take down XQ and sit on top of G, and basically giving him his team the advantage in that fight without losing the split push threat, and able to pick up Baron because of that.
Alright, and now they've got the Baron. Now they do have an inhibitor down. They're able to move forward They've got the damage with them, they've got the kills, they've got the gold advantage, and now they have the map advantage as well. They're going to start warding up and taking control rather of LiveMore's jungle. There's not really anywhere else they can farm at this point. They have a lot of sustaining fights though, and their wombo is still available, and they're starting to mitigate a bit more damage with that Randuin's as well. So there's a lot going for them. They need to roam as a team rather than getting caught out. They were catching a lot of single targets out from RYL before, but they haven't been doing as much since.
Yeah, but with only 2 damage threats on the side of LiveMore, they need to be super coordinated. And so far, either Uzi or Whites has managed to get on top of XQ or G and actually shut them down straight off the bat. And with that happening, White's basically, since we last talked about him getting caught out in that red side jungle, he's picked up 5 kills, no deaths. So they aren't able to get on top of Whites and use that CC that they're trying to bring in with Aatrox, with Jarvan, and with Fiddlesticks to shut down that hyper carry of the Fizz. And that's really what they need to be focusing on doing.
It's all about Leah getting that perfect Cataclysm together with Magic's Crowstorm at this point. Oh, it looks like Aatrox was trying to bait out that grab there. Certainly knew what was coming for him and gone out just in time, but he still has that Guardian Angels. His Bloodwell is in fact there as well. We see a flash out from Whites. He's trying to bait a bit of a team fight here as he throws out his Zhonya's. He's going to get jumped on. He gets out just a little bit. There's the Cataclysm moving in. Are we going to see a Crowstorm follow-up? And not just yet, actually. The charge isn't going down. They do manage to catch Leah with Uzi, and there is the pop on C. There's the Crowstorm as well. The pop on C for his Bloodwell was baiting out that Crowstorm, but the Crowstorm didn't hit too many of the Magic. Now the focus of attention as Aatrox goes down as well. Godlike taking a bit of damage from that turret. RYL again walking out of that successful.
Absolutely, and the focus there, as we said, was Whites. They threw so much into that fight to try and get Whites, as we see LiveMore XQ getting jumped on there, and the great flash there from Corki going unstoppable, and he's going on to the... and they will get the ace there. Just cleaning up the dregs of that fight from earlier, but as we said, so much was blown onto Whites, trying to shut him down, managed to get the Zhonya's, managed to playful tricks to out, and basically there was not a whole lot they could do. He did so much damage before he left the fight, and they still didn't kill him, and Corki just going absolutely ham, picking himself up a whole fistful of kills, and this game looking very one-sided in these last 2 team fights.
Yeah, a little bit grim for LiveMore, but again, they've still got that team fight potentially under their belt. That was White's baiting out a lot of their ultis, especially Leah, and they weren't able to combo that Cataclysm with the Crowstorm at all. They were denied that chance, mainly because they were just too happy to go in and take out Whites early on.
Yeah, and the thing is, they did get from Seed the Aatrox ultimate. They also got the Shockwave out of Orianna, and they got the Cataclysm out of Jarvan, all for Whites, who never died. So when you're expending that much effort, as we see Leah get jumped on, White's going ham 2v1, and he will pick up the dominating there. And White's just decided that he's feeling very confident in this game. 4v1, gives away the shutdown, but as we said, still very one-sided. Over 10k the gold lead now at 37 minutes, and looking very good for the side of RYL.
Yeah, and at this point, RYL does have the map, so they've got that dragon if they ever want it. They can move together as a unit. They've still got the split push Shen, and their items are looking incredibly healthy as well. They've got a lot of shred left on Corki, but he's not actually finishing off with a Guardian Angel or anything like that. He's going flat out damage at this point.
Yeah, and something that I want to mention from the side of LiveMore, just to see if they change it for next game, is the fact that they only brought 2 threats to the table. As we see another team fight.
Oh, that explosion just going out. Aatrox taken away instantly as none of his spells are up to keep him alive. XQ getting away at the skin of its teeth. We may not actually see the escape. Certainly, actually, the turret going to help him out. There it was. White's going down. Oh, White's was already out of the team fight before. Uzi might just get nowhere. It's going to be the Sand United saving him out as Quiet jumps in the middle of the team fight, gets the Cataclysm on, and he does it. He's away and doesn't save it for that Cataclysm. Actually gets caught up in it. So it's Godlike just barely getting out of there. Uzi getting very, very close to XQ. Not going to go down though either. Does look like RYL have to get out of that base to lick their wounds, but it was in a sense a 2 for 2. Seeing as White had gone down before, but he is back up, and it wasn't quite the equal fight for RYL.
No, and as we were saying before, something I I want to mention for next time. Be interesting to see whether or not they bring a triple threat to the table on the side of LiveMore. At the moment, a very tanky Aatrox, a very tanky on the side of Jarvan, and Fiddlesticks. Not very much damage coming out there. A whole lot of pressure being put on the back of G and XQ. And with the focus that Whites, Godlike, and Tabe are able to put onto single targets, very hard for those two guys to be able to carry the damage for their team. So it'll be very interesting to see whether or not LiveMore have a bit of a change up in the next game and look at bringing an extra threat to the table rather than another tank, and would expect to possibly see a bit more damage coming out of that top lane.
Yeah, just wondering how they're expecting to continue on in this game. They could try and take away one big team fight. They couldn't really go for much of a split push as they don't have the teleports available, and that Shen can react incredibly quickly to anything, especially if they're back at base or especially if he's split pushing. So there's a lot of ways that RYL have covered every entrance and exit for LiveMore to their base to the rest of the map, but they're still hoping for a miracle.
Yeah, and we'll see RYL here just go in and take that last inhibitor and basically make it very, very hard for LiveMore to do anything. No, LiveMore happy to let the other lanes push in, and RYL will basically either sit here till they get the inhibitor, at which point...
There's the initiate coming in from Seed. He's going to get burst down instantly, but not before Magic follows suit. His Bloodwell is popped, and there goes out the Cataclysm and escape from Quiet with the Valkyrie. Down goes Aatrox. Finally, in the dash from Godlike, hitting onto XQ, who actually gets away just in time. It was a 2 for 2. They're trading very equally in these fights. Out goes the ulti from Caitlyn, trying to pick off Quiet. Not enough damage there, but there is a good amount of poke coming out from Quiet, trying to pick up the kill onto G. Didn't quite work out from though, and G still sitting there with the hourglass.
Yeah, and 2 for 2 at this stage, not enough. They've got 2 waves of super creeps beating on their Nexus turrets, and they're getting very, very low. So RYL at the moment happy to take these 2 for 2s and let the creeps do work on those turrets. But RYL will need to very shortly make decisive moves to finish this game, because at this stage, we're out about at a 14k gold lead in the favour of RYL. Now it's only about 9k, so even though they're happy to go ham, it's not really working for them at the moment. LiveMore pinging the inhibitor turret in the mid lane of RYL, so very interesting to see what they do here. They've got all their inhibitors coming up very shortly, so we'll see how it goes in this next fight. Looks like there may be a bit of Baron action, Theo.
Yeah, they're pinging out the Baron. What I don't see on either of these teams actually is an Aegis, and they are starting out the Baron. We'll see if Aatrox can jump in there and pick anything off. They've got the site available. There's the deny again from Godlike. Are we going to see a Crowstorm coming in? We do see Jarvan just barely getting in time. He might throw. There's the initiate, and there's the Crowstorm as well. They're trying to take down Godlike and Uzi, and a little bit of lag going down to focus on Leah at the moment. There's split damage everywhere. I do believe, yeah, White's popping out the hourglass to bait out a bit more damage. They do manage to poke him out there with Caitlyn and Jarvan, and it is a 1-for-0 exchange in favor to LiveMore. That little Baron thing did go in there, in this exchange. No, they did manage to actually pop out Baron there and take down Seed in the process. They went back, they finished off their work once they pushed out LiveMore.
And a 1-for-1 and Baron on the side of RYL. Really well done. Great cocoon there from Uzi. Leah is going to go down there, and XQ, just unfortunate with that Piltover Peacemaker, and Corki's going to go in here. A little low on mana, but does has that Baron buff, and the flash in there to try and get the shutdown onto Jai, and he will get that kill. Actually, Godlike picking that up with the Ignite.
That
really
is
well played there from RYL, and that will be game 1.
Congratulations to RYL taking away game 1. There are still 2 more games to go for Elm to pick it up. Are they going to stick with that team fight, or are they going to go for something a bit more versatile, a bit more bursty, a bit more able to deal some damage or do a bit of split pushing with individual champs, rather than hoping for a whole lot of team coordination, especially with the new lineups that are coming out for these teams?
Yeah, and very impressive work there from RYL. I will expect to see a bit of a change happening in the next game, and I would expect to see LiveMore taking a little bit more risk and definitely bringing another threat to the table. Maybe a Jax in that top lane, maybe something very popular, a Renekton. We'll have to wait and see how it goes, but I would definitely expect a little bit more damage coming out from the side of LiveMore.
Certainly, we are going to go to break until the next game does come back up.